4 high school teenagers received an invitation to the horror theme park. ILLBLEED. Erica Christie, Michelle Waters, Kevin Kurtzman, Randy Fairbanks. Whoever can clear all of the stages will receive $100 million. But under the guise of amusement lies a homicidal theme park. Escape or die, become a millionaire, or get a one-way ticket to hell. Cake from hell. Michael Reynolds, the founder of ILLBLEED, sneers at all challenges.
Charlie!
What is his true purpose? Only the survivor will experience the shocking ending. The world's first haunted house adventure.
In 2001, a little horror game named ILLBLEED was released for and only the Dreamcast, and it was regarded as one of the worst horror games for that time. But was ILLBLEED really a bad game? Or were people just looking at the game with a spoiled mindset? I really do believe a lot of people were looking at this game with a spoiled mindset given the other horror games we had years before ILLBLEED's release. Those horror games being Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and also the first Silent Hill game was released in 1999, the same year the Dreamcast was released. And to make things worse, Silent Hill 2, Fatal Frame, Clive Barker's Undying, Alone in the Dark, and Resident Evil Code Veronica X were released the same year ILLBLEED was. And that's why I believe that ILLBLEED being surrounded by so many heavy-hitting horror games that it was destined to fail. But was ILLBLEED really a failure? Sales-wise? Possibly yes, but gameplay and story-wise, I would like to argue no. And I'm gonna just go ahead and say this right now, I believe that ILLBLEED is one of the best horror games of all time. Notice I said one of the best horror games of all time and not one of the scariest horror games of all time. Because trust me, there's a difference. And this is where the video truly begins. For the ones that are already subbed to this channel, you already know that I am an achievement hunter. And for the ones who just found this video by random, I am an achievement hunter. I didn't discover ILLBLEED in 2001. I discovered it in 2020. At the time of this recording, that's 6 years ago. But there was nothing special about that playthrough. I was only looking for some classic horror games to play when I came across ILLBLEED and decided to do a playthrough of it just so I can experience it for the first time. But I never actually finished the game, believe it or not. And not because the game was bad or too hard. I actually really enjoyed the game, but things in life got in the way, and by the time those things got out of the way, I had completely forgotten about ILLBLEED. Until I started achievement hunting with some of my favorite classic games like Tomb Raider, Duke Nukem, and Mortal Kombat, just to name a few. And naturally, that's how ILLBLEED came back into my life, and this time, I was dedicated to experiencing the full game 100%. And that's exactly what I did. I got the platinum trophy for ILLBLEED by doing all 58 achievements, which took me 44.5 hours. And that is why I'm here tonight to share with you guys how I platinumed ILLBLEED. All 58 achievements, all 44.5 hours, all the good, all the bad that ILLBLEED had to offer, and why I believe that ILLBLEED, again, is one of the best horror games of all time. But before we get into that, let's talk about the story of ILLBLEED so you guys know what exactly is the point of this game. Iriko Christie, the main character of ILLBLEED, is first seen in her high school's 18th annual speech presentation competition, recalling her traumatic past with her father's horror caravan, which was built to originally give people a new horror experience or thrill, but to test their effectiveness was tested on a young child Iriko at age 5, having Iriko run away from scary monsters, avoid traps and snakes to get to her own bedroom. Yes, he did this to his own 5-year-old daughter. But thankfully, Iriko's mother had divorced her father by the time she was 6. But despite all that, she had grown to love horror and wished to major in child psychology. Not too long after, Iriko's friends Kevin and Randy come to meet up with her outside of the school, congratulating her on the speech and showing their confidence in her likely victory in the competition. Not too long after, Michelle, the only friend who didn't attend the presentation, being certain Iriko would win, comes to the group with invites to the newest horror attraction in town, ILLBLEED. Getting the invites through a Pepco promotion. ILLBLEED advertising the absurd reward of $100 million for anyone who can make it through it alive. Iriko politely declines, thinking it's just a cheap and lowly stunt for publicity and advertising, and generally just being too sketchy for her to want to go. Her friends ask if she's certain, and Iriko replied with a simple yup. Her friends all agree to go to ILLBLEED without her, leaving Iriko's invitation behind. 3 days go by without Iriko seeing or hearing from any of her friends. Iriko gets concerned, feeling the need to investigate and find her friends at ILLBLEED herself. But not before I run into a game-breaking glitch, which prevented me from even starting the first level of the game. I was stuck here for so long that I almost ended my stream and just said, forget it, we'll try it another day. And not even joking, on my last attempt before I gave up for the night, the game actually started working and we were able to start the first level. Finally. And before we begin, one last thing, I will be explaining every achievement that I unlocked in the exact order that I unlocked them. I'm explaining this now so no one is confused later. For example, if I'm explaining all of the achievements that I got in level 1, level 2, and level 3, naturally you will expect me to talk about level 4, but you see me go back to level 1. That's because I never got every single achievement in level 1 and I decided to go back to clean it up because I don't want to do it later. Or an achievement got so annoying that I decided to do it later because I didn't want to deal with it at that moment. So let's finally begin. What exactly is level 1? Level 1 is a sad story about a father and son that loved baseball. The son helped his team get a state victory and the dad was really proud of him. The dad also owns a hotel or an inn or whatever you want to call it, and he built a batting cage or something similar to a batting cage in the basement of this hotel/inn. One day, the father and son decided to go down to the basement to hit a few pitches while randomly there's kids upstairs playing with fire, which caused the entire hotel to go up in flames. Everyone in the hotel survived except for one person, the son. But the dad was burned really bad to the point that he looked like a grotesque monster. And he wanted revenge on the ones who caused his son to die. And that's exactly what he got. He killed every last one of those kids responsible for the flame with a blowtorch. And he will kill anyone who dares to step inside his hotel. Welcome to level 1, the home run of death. The first achievement I got here was called Through the Fire and Flames. There's a basement underneath the hotel that I have to navigate from one side to the other, but not just that, I have to get from one side to the other while the serial killer knows my exact location and I am not allowed to take any damage from his blowtorch. Also, I forgot to mention that the basement is a giant maze and we're faster than the serial killer, but he can teleport anywhere in the basement he chooses to so he can get the ambush on us. Honestly, this achievement wasn't actually that bad. You would think one of the worst parts of this is navigating the basement, which again is a maze, but we do have access to a map which tells us which turns we should take and which turns we should avoid because it leads to a dead end. Definitely the worst part about this achievement was the serial killer being able to teleport wherever he wanted to because he kept constantly teleporting right around the corner I was about to take. But just because he touches me doesn't mean I failed the achievement. All it does is initiate a little mini game where I have to either fight him or escape. And during this part of the game, he has infinite health, so fighting him is out of the question, which is safe to say I failed this achievement a few times. The next achievement I got is called A Knight in Shining Armor. We have to save our best friend Kevin, but before we can save him, we have to fight the fucking serial killer. This fight isn't actually that hard. You just have to run around in a circle dodging his blowtorch and get a few hits in when you can. Do that enough times and you will win the boss fight and save your best friend Kevin.
The cool thing about this section of the game is you can actually let Kevin die, and his death is linked to one of the endings you get in this game. Yes, this game has multiple endings, but there's something specific you have to do for him to die, which I didn't do because I didn't know there was multiple endings to this game, and I didn't even know that he could die, so naturally I did save him this time. The next achievement I got is called Wrong Way Buddy. Get to the goal while the big monster is still active. Now, you can do this two different ways. You can go to the exit and finish the level with the big monster still active, or you can take a different route and stop the man that's controlling the monster. Yes, there is a man controlling this monster, which means also, yes, this is a robot. Also, I just lied. You can get to the goal and get the achievement, but you can't actually leave the level. You have to stop the man that's controlling the robot to get the key card to be able to open the goal and get out. As I said in the beginning of this video, it's been over half a decade since I last played this game, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing and ended up dying here. But my second attempt, I ended up whacking the dude that was controlling the robot. He was also a robot himself. Took the key card, and then I escaped and got the achievement and finished level 1 for now.
Alright, here we are with level 2, The Revenge of Queen Worm. And the first achievement I got here is called The Story of Rachel and Cole. Learn everything about the worms and their father in The Revenge of Queen Worm. Just like in level 1, there will be articles scattered out throughout the level that you have to collect to piece together the full story of what exactly happened here. Now, as you all know, it's been a very long time since I played this game, so I don't necessarily remember the full story, but I'll try to give you the short version of what I do remember. There was this farmer who owned a farm, obviously, and he sold worms to other farmers and people and made a lot of money doing it. A company overheard him doing it and wanted to share his farm or partner with him to do something with his farm. Turns out, no surprise, they lied to him and started doing things to the farm that he did not approve of. But he had already signed a contract, so there was nothing he could do about it. And out of all the worms that he sold, he kept one worm to himself because that's like his favorite worm or something. But one day he accidentally dropped the worm, or it accidentally fell on its own, inside some type of liquid gas or something like that, and he thought that the worm died. But he noticed after a while that the worm didn't die, it was getting bigger and bigger as the days went on. And he decided to keep giving this worm the same liquid that it fell into, which made it keep growing bigger and bigger until it turned into a giant monster worm. And then the giant monster worm killed everyone from the company that did the farmer wrong, and I think also just anyone in general that was just at the farm. And the farmer eventually committed suicide, leaving the giant worm to kill anyone who dares step foot on this farm. But then we get a visit from the farmer's ghost, giving us instructions on how to build a flamethrower and asking us can we use said flamethrower to kill his daughter, aka the giant worm. And on this journey of finding this flamethrower, I run into killer monkeys, zombie girls with pistols, and some of the corporate guys who were attacked by the worm who are moments away from dying. Which honestly was pretty damn cool. And the reason why we in this mess in the first place is because one of our stupid friends got captured by the enemies of this level, that friend being Michelle, which is also our next achievement. It's a 1 versus 3 fight against these monkey creatures that kidnap Michelle, and this fight is actually really easy. The flamethrower we're supposed to use for the worm can also be used here and for the worm. But to achieve this achievement, you have to do this without the flamethrower and only your melee attack. And if I could be honest, I got fucking destroyed. But since I unlocked Kevin in level 1, I was able to use him to get the achievement and unlock Michelle as a playable character. The only thing I had to do next was fight the giant worm with the flamethrower, which ends up killing it, and we get to see a cutscene with the soul of the worm reuniting with the farmer's soul. Oh, I love happy endings. Our next level is called Wood Puppets. Okay, so this next level was pretty fucking terrifying. There are lumberjacks in this level that take sport into turning humans into wood puppets and hunting them down. What I mean by this is they take this wooden cast and put it over their victims' bodies and have them run around in this contest to see who can last the longest. Or out of all the lumberjacks participating in the contest, who can kill the most wood puppets. It's one of those two, but I can't quite remember which one it is. But there is no upside to this. All wood puppets will die. Or at least that's how it usually goes. I say this because of course we're the protagonists. We have plot armor and our friends obviously have to live, so of course we won't. Never mind. What is up everyone, Editing Tay here. Don't mean to stop the video here, but I have to explain something because the next half of this video will be different from the half you just seen. Obviously from the first half of the video, you guys noticed that I've been explaining the story to the best of my ability while also explaining the achievements. I have just now realized that that is taking an extremely long time to do. We are already 12.5 minutes into this video and I've only explained 7 or 8 achievements out of 58, and in my opinion that is extremely counterproductive. So from this point forward, I'm going to try to prioritize just explaining the achievements that I got from start to finish, hoping that it speeds the video up just a little bit and also still keeps you entertained. So I hope you guys understand, and thank you so much for listening to my explanation. Now let's get back to the video. The next achievement is you ain't getting the golden chainsaw, and wood puppets get through the hunting area without getting into more than 3 fights with a lumberjack. Okay, so this one was pissing me off because we had to become a wood puppet to do this achievement, and the lumberjacks are faster than us, and they also can teleport like the killer from the first level. It doesn't matter if you see them coming a mile away. You can try to go a different direction or try to juke them. They will catch up to you every single time. So having to do this no more than 3 times was driving me fucking insane. I can't even count how many times I got caught more than 3 times and had to keep going back to the main menu and clicking the goddamn save file to start all over again. Genuine madness. The next achievement is brawn over brain. Save Randy with his brain. So this was a really weird one because Randy got turned into a wood puppet just like us, except we kept our brain and they took his brain. And he's still alive somehow. And to make matters worse, his brain is hidden somewhere on the level. The good thing is the brain is always in the same spot, but if you don't look thoroughly, you will miss it and miss the achievement. And Randy is at the end of the level, so if you miss the brain and miss the achievement, you have to go back. But you can't just backtrack back. No, at some point the level closes off where you can't go back to the beginning to get the brain, so you will have to restart the entire level from the start and fight every enemy you fought until you get back to Randy. Now there is a plus side to this with another negative side. If you get to Randy without his brain, you will unlock the achievement called Brains. Save Randy without his brain. And you unlock Brainless Randy, but you will miss out on the brawn over brain achievement. So whichever one you do first, get the brain or don't get the brain, you still will have to go back to the beginning and play the level all over again, which is ass. Next 3 achievements I got back to back because I got lucky. The first one being wood puppets, finish stage 3. The next one being the great Dooku tree's not so great rival, and the last one being cut in pieces, it's still warm, win the $120,000 total prize in stage 3. Now out of those 3 achievements, the only one I had trouble with was the great Dooku tree boss fight because I had to beat him without getting hit more than twice. And I failed this achievement a lot of times because he hit me more than twice or he just straight up killed me. And no matter what strategy I used, it just seemed like this achievement was just too hard or impossible for me to do. And with Michelle being the last member alive in my party, now dead, and the lack of heals I got, resulted in me getting a game over. And you know what happens after that? Yep, I go back. This achievement was annoying me so much that I was really thinking about giving up and saving it for one of the last achievements I have to do, until I decided to use a strategy that I haven't had to use in a very long time. And that strategy is looking up a speed run. And that's exactly how I got the achievement. And I say this on my streams all the time, that you will be surprised how well speed running and achievement hunting go hand in hand. In my opinion, they are 2 different sides of the same coin. I don't remember the guy's name, but still shoutouts to that guy for helping me get this achievement. Next achievement is called A Cake for a Cake with a Side of Sweets. In Killer Department Store, give the Hell Cake a sweet strawberry and a baked cake. Okay, this one was extremely easy because unlike the Randy's Brain achievement, the items that this cake needs isn't too far from it. You just have to fight a couple enemies before grabbing the item. Next achievement I got was called A Bit of Testing Can't Hurt Nobody. In Killer Department Store, let yourself get hit by
big spider robot guy once you're in control and survive the attack. Now, I shit you not, they just want you to take control of this robot, which is part of how you beat the boss, and have him attack you one time and survive. I don't know why this is an achievement, but it was pretty simple if you have damn near full health. After that, you just beat the boss by slamming him into the wall a few times and you get the achievement for beating the level. This next achievement, I kid you not, is utterly ridiculous. This achievement is called A Ton of Secret Blue Beef. I hope I'm saying that right. In the killer department store level, go into the butcher room with a full meat inventory and beat everyone up. The meat that you collect is supposed to be given to 3 different giant cockroach monsters. Each one asks for a different type of meat. If you give them the right meat, they will leave. If you give them the wrong meat, they will attack you. The key to doing this is you need to grab every type of meat you can to have a full inventory and give the cockroaches the wrong meat. They won't take the meat, get pissed off, attack you, and then leave. Once all 3 cockroaches are gone, you go into the next door and you meet a butcher. The butcher will then have you take every piece of meat you have in your inventory and sit it on a giant grill. But that's not all. After you sit the meat on the giant grill, you have to fight the meat. Yes, this meat is still alive. And this fight is actually pretty tough, so make sure you bring a lot of health items. There's an achievement where I also had to beat this level using Brainless Randy, which honestly was easier said than done. And you know what that means? Yup, I died, so I go back. Yay. There's also a part where you have to play a game of hide and seek and a game of jump rope, which is cool for a level design, but overall it's complete bullshit. The more you jump over the rope, the faster it goes, and the controls are delayed. So again, complete bullshit. The next achievement I got was called The Screams and Scares of a Few Ill Bleeders. In the Killer Man level, watch 3 people get brutally murdered. In this level, there's a serial killer going around killing everyone and you have to solve the mystery of who this person is. And while looking for clues, you will get 3 different cutscenes of the serial killer killing people. And once you watch all 3 cutscenes fully, you will unlock the achievement. The next achievement I got was to beat this level with Michelle. Now, there are more achievements for this level, but I didn't go back and get those achievements until a little bit later because they are pretty fucking annoying. So I decided to just come back and do those another time. The next achievement I got was called Toy Hunter, which requires me to beat stage 6, where you get turned into a toy, which in my opinion looks like a knockoff of Woody from Toy Story. And shit in this level gets pretty scary. And by scary, I mean fucking terrifying. You want to know what this game reminds me of? This game reminds me of my favorite cartoon of all time called Courage the Cowardly Dog. Out of all the places on Earth, an elderly couple with a dog lives in the middle of literally nowhere, are fighting for their lives on a constant everyday basis. From aliens in outer space, eggplant monsters living on the ground, a water succubus that lures the husband into her underwater lair so she can eat him alive, a pig couple who owns a diner that are suspected of using human meat to make their burgers, a ghost named King Ramsey that brutally murders 2 people that stole an item from him, which just so happens to be taking place right outside of Courage's home. And that's just to name a few. My point is, you don't expect so much crazy shit to happen in the middle of nowhere, and in this game similar, you don't expect so much crazy shit to happen in an amusement park meant to only scare you. But instead of just harmless jump scares and fun, there are people that are getting murdered in some of the worst ways possible. You can fit some of the characters in this game into the Courage the Cowardly Dog intro and it'll fit perfectly.
Abandoned as a pup, he was found by Muriel, who lives in the middle of nowhere with her husband, Eustace Bay. But creepy stuff happens in nowhere. It's up to Courage to save his new home. Abandoned as a pup, he was found by Muriel, who lives in the middle of nowhere with her husband, Eustace Bay. But creepy stuff happens in nowhere. It's up to Courage to save his new home.
Also, the final boss of this stage is a parody of Sonic the Hedgehog, and he drops rings when you damage him. And people said that this game was terrible. I also got an achievement for beating him without him taking any damage on me. The boss fight is actually fairly simple. You just have to shoot him, the rings will come out, you shoot the rings which are connected to his health bar, and then he eventually dies. Just having a Sonic the Hedgehog devil parody of him in a horror game is fucking amazing in my opinion. We really don't get silly stuff like this in video games these days, huh? Alright, we're finally at the end of the game, but before we fight the final boss, we have to fight 3 bosses. 1 recycle boss from earlier, and 2 unique bosses. Donald Cashman being the recycle boss, with Bull Stinger and the Oh No Man being the 2 new bosses. This game has 3 endings: the bad ending, the good ending, and the true ending. with each ending being its own achievement. During my first playthrough, I got 2 achievements, the bad ending and the good ending, because they're really easy to get. To get the bad ending, I had to save some of my friends, but not all of them. And to get the good ending, I have to obviously save all of my friends. But to get the true ending is where this game gets weird and pretty dark, because to get the true ending, I have to let all of my friends die. And by letting all of your friends die is the only way you'll be able to fight the final boss and get the true ending. And the only indicator to let you know if you're on the right track to getting the true ending is the main protagonist losing more and more of her clothes until you finally look like this. I shit you not. But that's all I'm going to speak on as far as the true ending, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who wants to experience this game for themselves, which I highly recommend you do. After getting the true ending, there is a mini game that unlocks in the options menu if you put in the right sequence of buttons. This mini game has a connection to 2 achievements, one being called Restricted Fun, get a score of 500 without doing more than 10 jumps, and Endless Joy, beat the first place high score in the bonus mini game. I have no idea why this minigame is a part of this game of all games, but I'm not mad at it. The weirder, the better. Now, this is the phase that I call the cleanup phase. I never get every single achievement in one go. I don't think anyone has ever done that before, especially going through the game blind. So naturally, I skipped certain achievements to go get other easier obtainable achievements. Because some achievements can be a real pain in the ass. Like the achievement, does it matter if it's one more dead body? And Killer Man, find George in less than 6 minutes. Or ethical journalism, save George. And last but not least, murder mystery. Guess who is the correct killer and get the prize money in stage 5. So as you just heard, stage 5 is all about a mystery, a murder mystery. There's a man wearing a supervillain costume going around killing the employees in the building, and it's up to me to figure out who that person is. Now, I love a good murder mystery. One of my favorite games is the Danganronpa series, but this was really confusing and annoying at the same time. Not to mention, while all of this is going on, I have to do another achievement where George gets kidnapped by a fucking zombie, and I have 6 minutes to navigate a maze to find him. In the maze, the one that I'm running through right now, you see all of that underneath that bridge? Yeah, those are dead bodies. Oh my god, imagine how this place smells. Jesus Christ. But anyway, I end up saving George and fighting the final boss to reveal who the murderer was. But I'm not going to spoil that for anyone who wants to experience the game for themselves. The last handful of achievements that I had to get were pretty tedious to the point it got really boring. Now, this game isn't boring. This still is one of my favorite horror games of all time, and I do highly recommend any other horror fans to check this game out. But unfortunately, repetitiveness births boredom and fatigue. And none of these stages are actually short. They're pretty long, if I can be honest. So having to run through these stages from start to finish with multiple characters with nothing added to the game whatsoever becomes very tiresome very fast. And the very last thing I had to do, which was still a huge headache, was to upgrade everyone to max level. Every level has a certain amount of upgradable items to find. Once you find those upgradable items, you go to the pharmacy and they will upgrade your character. But here's where the problem lies. There isn't enough items in the entire game to upgrade multiple characters to max. So what the game expects you to do is to go through the entire game as one character and get all the upgrades and don't miss any, then go through the game again with another character, then another character, then another character. Or you can just run through the game multiple times with the same character and get all the upgrades and then just put those upgrades to a different character. So not only do you have to run through all of these levels to find all of these upgrades, you also have to make sure you do these levels damn near perfectly so you can make as much money as possible, because these surgeries cost money and they are expensive. It'd have been better if you could go to the pharmacy and you can use your money to buy the upgrades. No, you have to go to the level to find them. And once a level is completed, you can't go back to that level again. So if you miss an item, oh well, you get fucked. And what does get fucked mean? That's right, you go back. And by go back, I mean if you didn't save the game before you completed the level, you have to pretty much start the entire game all over again, no matter if you're on level 1 or level 6.
But thank God I thought of a better solution than having to play through the levels all over again. I did have to play through the levels one more time, but I didn't have to do it multiple times with different characters. I ran through all the levels again with one character, getting all the upgrades that I could from each level, and then I saved the game. Once I was done saving the game, I went to the pharmacy to upgrade one character. Once I upgraded that character to max and got the achievement, I will reload the save and go back into the pharmacy and then upgrade another character, and then another character, and then another character, and then after that, everyone was maxed out, and I finally got the platinum trophy for ILLBLEED.
Those are guest invitations to ILLBLEED. How'd you get them?
From a Pepco promotion.
Kill! Look, we can win $100 million there.
Yeah, if we can manage to get through the whole park, that is.
No sweat. I'm game if you are.
Sure thing. I'm with ya.
What about you, Eriko?
I think I'll pass. It sounds too good to be true.
Why? You just said in your speech to conquer your fear and surpass the odds. Come on, we can test your theory.
Sounds like we're trying to be superheroes or something.
It's no biggie. It's just a house of horrors, probably full of cheesy props and gags.
Which proves what's so weird about this. How can a funky place like that afford $100 million reward?
Who knows? Maybe they'll make it take so long to get through it, everyone will give up, go home, and the horror honchos will end up with a lot of free publicity.
Or else the whole thing is a hoax, and they don't have the money at all.
I agree with him.
I'm down with that.
I'm not voting. Or going.
For real?
Are you positive?
You sure?
Okay, Your Highness. Then we three humble slaves shall bring back the $100 million, and you'll be sorry.
I can't wait to commune with the undead.
I'd use the money for a chainsaw and hack my way into fame and fear. Ha ha!
Okay then. We'll catch you later, Eriko.
Let's go!